Serious, what was your biggest I hope I'm wrong moment? When I was in hospital with my son and the professor of pediatrics kept bringing new students to me and my son daily to observe what I just could not see as a first-time mum. The professor would ask me to do this or that with him, then turn to her students and say, "Do you see?" They would say, "New batch of students" the next day. Rinse, repeat. By day 6 I had a bad feeling that something was very wrong, but kept hoping it wasn't. I hoped I was wrong. I wasn't. A few days later my baby was diagnosed with Duchenne muscular dystrophy. When I plugged a flash drive from my father's office into my computer that contained CP and videos of my underaged sister being recorded in private without her knowledge. Meeting a friend's boyfriend. He was an unemployed steelworker and the look he gave me was chilling. I mentioned it to her later. About a month later, she kicked him out. He still had the keys to the place. He was waiting for her one night and beat her into a coma. Then sat there for 2 days as she died. The ugly black spot on my shoulder. Please don't let it be melanoma. Please don't let it be melanoma. I already knew it was. Fortunately, caught early with only wide excision and lymph node biopsy needed. Sounded like a tornado. I wanted to be wrong. But it tore the roof off of the job where I was working and killed one person. 2 moments. One night noticed one of my testicles was hard as a rock. Sure enough, testicular cancer. Many years later. Woke up with a bad headache one night. Sure enough, had a brain aneurysm. Survived both and feel great now. Knowing my dad was gonna die in surgery. He went from one doc that was too worried to put him under because his heart was so frail. He went to another doc and he was like, "Oh yeah. This is a nothing burger. You will be all good in no time." I had trepidations and tried to voice them to him and my mom and he jumped down my throat. He wanted it to be true so badly that any dissent was a direct attack. So I held my tongue and hoped. He died on the table. Had a friend commit suicide in March. He wrote me a handwritten letter and mailed me a package. But was leaving on a cruise, he got drunk. Jumped and they never found his body, but he wrote me a Discord message because he wasn't sure the letter would show up. So I spent 4 days just hoping to God I was wrong, but I knew from the first sentence of his message. When I was 11, I was at a Little League ballgame watching my brother. My grandmother was there and was telling me how my grandpa had a bad cold and was going to the doctor to get it looked at. I had this sinking gut feeling that it was lung cancer. It was literally the first thing that popped into my brain. Sure enough, later that month he got the diagnosis. I felt pretty guilty for a long time, thinking I had somehow willed it to be so. While in the army we drove into an ambush. I hope I'm wrong. But it's weird, there are no women or children on the street. Just 20-30-year-old dudes trying very hard not to look at us. I hope I'm wrong. But it's taking that cement mixer truck ahead of us a long time to cross the street. Just in case I'm not wrong, we are backing the F out of here at warp factor 5. My mom stopped responding to text messages. She normally responds very quickly, so when she didn't respond to me and didn't pick up her phone. When I called, I was terrified and couldn't shake the gut feeling that she had died. I hoped so much that I was wrong. But I wasn't. When I had the feeling my ex was cheating on me, I was right. Hence the ex part. Went on a date with someone I had met earlier that week. Prior to the date, I thought to myself I shouldn't go because it was weird they showed interest, told myself that was Just my terrible self-esteem talking, and it would be fine, and I'm just being silly by thinking anything was off. Ended up being date raped. When I had my first miscarriage, I could sense my pregnancy ending. I'd had bad morning sickness with pregnancy. And one morning, I just didn't have the usual nausea. I didn't say anything because we were headed to a standard doctor appointment. I remember my husband commenting it was good I wasn't eating crackers and feeling better before the second trimester. But I knew it wasn't good. Doctor couldn't find baby's heartbeat. And I spent the next 2 days actively miscarrying. I had this strong, intense feeling he's gonna break up with me, but in my head I thought, no, I'm overthinking it because everything was good. Then, went to my room, opened my laptop, bam, the breakup email. That my dog was gonna die. No one else noticed. But he was acting different. I hoped it would be fine. But not even a month later we had to put him down. He had over 5 seizures in 24 hours and it was hurting him so badly. He didn't know where he was or even who we were sometimes. He passed away September 2, 2022. I have anxiety. All my thoughts are followed with I hope I'm wrong. My sister's husband is a piece of shit. Got a bad feeling the first time I met him. He's super mentally abusive and I believe he's capable of physical abuse but haven't seen evidence of it yet. She just had her first kid with him and it was 2.5 months premature due to placental abruption. She's healthy and was being super careful. I'm skeptical he caused it. Came into one of the apartments where I walk dogs. Say Muna like I usually do to wake Mona the Pomeranian up to go out for a walk. She's old. And slow. But very sweet. She doesn't even stir. The instant I noticed she hadn't moved, my gut knew she had passed sometime that morning. Someone posted on Facebook that they were having a horrible day and to top it off they had just learned that their best friend died. Somehow I just knew the person she was referring to was my best friend too. But I really hoped I was wrong. I was not wrong. My mom was a dramatic bitch. May she rest in peace. She would ignore people over perceived slights, so not getting replies from her was normal. I was supposed to visit her one weekend but she was ignoring me all Friday. I decided not to go down and the next morning my dad called me. I was driving and he said I should pull over. I knew in that moment my mom had died, but man did I wish I was wrong. And for the record, she didn't die until that morning. So she really was ignoring me. When my grandmother got diagnosed with skin cancer, I had a sinking feeling she wouldn't be alive by the next year. I was right. The cancer hadn't been detected early enough and was all through her body by the time she started treatment. My girlfriend planned on taking her own life 2 months ago. I was able to prevent that. 1 month ago I received her last text message and let's just say my life has completely changed since then, and I'm going to her funeral next week. Belief that I'm involved with demons' mental illness is super fucking fun. A relative of mine was talking about how abusive his father was to him and the rest of his siblings. Then he mentioned special abuse of his sisters. It was sexual abuse. Luckily the dude died in the late 1960s, but still awful. My pregnant sister loudly said that if her almost 50-year-old boyfriend, who actually didn't want children because of his age and who was in the room to hear this, wouldn't get a vasectomy, she would take that as a sign he wants more children. If he was smart, he would have taken that as a sign to get the snip ASAP. But I had a feeling he wouldn't. A few years later she was pregnant again. With twins.